Welcome to Oilers Nation Everyday with your hosts, Tyler and Liam.
So, Bruce Cassidy worked for Vegas. DJ Smith worked for LA. Edmonton had Kris Knoblauch. Bruce Cassidy reportedly interviewed with LA after getting fired from Vegas, but then it turns out he didn't interview with LA. The Oilers asked to speak to Bruce Cassidy, but were denied. Kris Knoblauch is the coach as of 12:01 Mountain Time, but might not be for much longer. Let's get into it with the lead. Like, it makes sense and it doesn't, Liam.
DJ Smith who's just sat there.
Yeah, DJ Smith is
John Travolta and in Pulp Fiction
is also still kind of employed.
Yeah.
So what we have here is three coaches collecting a paycheck who have jobs, but who effectively don't have jobs.
Correct. Because DJ Smith, as much as someone just put in there, he is the intern.
Okay.
He is technically the intern, but he's still a job.
Oh.
You can, there you go. Still a job.
Clear as mud.
Well, you could add Craig Berube in there now, too.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Gone but not forgotten.
Berube.
Hopefully forgotten.
Toronto. And then maybe Cassidy to Toronto?
Cross that one out. I don't
Yep.
think. But Vegas would deny that one, too. Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. Yep.
Yeah.
And somehow Torts is probably in there at some point as well.
Nope.
No,
Out of room on the whiteboard. Done with this bit.
We need bigger whiteboards.
Welcome into Oilers Nation Everyday. We are live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online at sportscloset.ca. We are also a presentation of Bet365. Hockey fans tired of waiting for the end of the game to get paid? Check out Bet365's 3-goal early payout. When the team you're riding with goes up 3 goals at any point in the game, you get paid. Find out more about 3-goal early payout by downloading the app. Must be 19 plus. Please play responsibly. So the coaching thing is not quite as clear as it was 24 hours ago. Is it more clear? Is it less clear? Here's the latest, Liam. Mark Spector.
I thought you were going to say nothing.
Well, I kind of want to. Mark Spector with this tweet. As of this moment, 11:37 a.m. Mountain Time, Kris Knoblauch has not been fired by the Edmonton Oilers. We are expecting that to happen, however, likely by day's end. So, sounds like they're just dialing up the press release and figuring it out.
Yeah.
But, it's a mess. Like, why you had all day yesterday where this whole shitstorm was going on around you. We should have woken up to the news that he's not coming back.
Yeah, it's a very interesting situation. I mean, at the end of the day, at least they, I want to say in a way they didn't react, but and they kind of are, I guess, still, but like, this was clearly the path they wanted to go down anyway.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I did a lot of thinking on this situation last night, listened to other people, and I really don't think it's as bad as it's maybe being blown up to be. This is the NHL, folks. It's not the real world. It's a reality world that these 32 teams live in, and they operate within it. And I think if the Oilers got a sniff of like, hey, like, we know Toronto's going to fire Berube, which they probably did. They know the LA Kings want to talk to Bruce Cassidy as well. And like, we don't really know when this request came in for them to talk to Cassidy. It's like, we should probably talk to Bruce Cassidy and see where he's at with things. And it just got leaked. Mm-hmm. Every team in the league does this. The Oilers just got found out. And whose fault is that? Probably not the Oilers, in a way.
Okay, that's a great point. I want to play a clip because I had Jeff Merrick on Daily Faceoff Live today. I want to give you Jeff Merrick's take on this whole idea that the Oilers weren't acting in accordance with some sort of unwritten code or that they acted unprofessionally.
Yep.
Get your earbuds in.
It was tangled.
Here's Jeff Merrick's take on it.
A little bit. I don't think it's a bad look on the Oilers because this is how it's done. The only difference is it's public. Everybody knows this. Kris Knoblauch knows this. Like, this is how things are. This is how things are done. The unfortunate part, both for Vegas, for Edmonton, and the coach here, is that it became public. but I can assure you, like, coaches, teams will talk to other coaches before they make a decision on their coach, because unless it's the offseason, nobody wants to jump until they know where they're going to land or they have a place to land. But this is the way it's done, and everybody understands this.
Yeah, I mean, go on. What were you going to say? I was just...
Go. No, you please, Liam.
Look, like, this is not the same situation. But I've worked in hockey for a few years now with teams, and, like, no, somehow, things somehow happen. When coaches get fired, you can't just go into it blind. Mm-hmm. Like, there's always, like, conversations beforehand of being like, hey, like, do we really want to do this? If we do this, what do we do? And, like, that's all the Oilers were doing. They literally told us they were doing, like, a full evaluation of things. And on that full evaluation checklist would have been, is Kris Knoblauch part of this future? And so would Bowman, Jackson, etc.
Yep.
And we already know from our friend Dave Pagnotti yesterday, a few management will be on that list as well, and they'll be gone probably by the end of the week as well, or whenever that comes. Mm-hmm. Who really knows? He never said a date, I suppose. But it's just a business, and it's unfortunate because Knoblauch had a good run here, but he played last year was terrible. And you can blame it on the coaches, you can blame it on the players. Who cares?
Everyone wears blame for how bad that season was.
It was bad, and the result was terrible. And the Oilers need to figure it out because everyone just seems to forget all of a sudden that they're on such a time crunch on things, and they need to get things right. And if they think this is the move that gets them over the hump or a percentage better, then go ahead. Let's do it. We're here to win, not make people happy.
Can I present to you? Well, there's one thing. You said this before the show, and I think it was a bang-on point.
Should I say it again?
Sure.
The Vegas thing?
Yeah.
I think that it's very ironic that the Oilers are working, like this is all with Vegas, where Vegas would do this and it'd be like, what a ruthless organization. This is what Vegas does, and it's praised because they're trying to get better. The Oilers try and do it, and it's like, unprofessional.
The Vegas Golden Knights are cutthroat. Bill Foley will look Marc-Andre Fleury in the eyes and say, you are going to be a Golden Knight for the rest of your life, and Fleury will win a Vezina, and a month later he's cap dumped, and it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's how Vegas does business, baby. That's why they win.
They fired Bruce Cassidy with like 15 games left.
Less. 7.
Was it less? And he won a Stanley Cup with them. Like,
cutthroat. That's how you gotta win. More teams need to be like Vegas. It's professional hockey. The Oilers do it, and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Did you not think about Kris Knoblauch's feelings?
Fuck him. Hey, what day was Chris?
Pretty harsh.
Well, it's the NHL. What day was Kris Knoblauch hired on? You don't need to tell me the day, but what else happened on that day?
They fired Jay Woodcroft.
Fired Jay Woodcroft, and then Kris Knoblauch was hired in season. Sure, it's like a bit more of an urgency thing, and I get that. But you don't think they talked to Kris Knoblauch before they hired him? Like, they didn't fire Woody and was like, okay, what are we doing now? It's like, no, like there was no interview process because they had already talked to Kris Knoblauch clearly, and then they hired him on the same day. Like, these things don't just happen in a moment's thought. Like, it's thought out.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not the feelings league. It's a results-driven business. And at the end of the day, if Kris Knoblauch wants to be upset at how the Oilers handled this, I suppose that's his right. And if I was in his shoes, I'd probably be pretty pissed that I'm getting fired too.
Yeah.
But I would have been pissed I'm getting fired no matter what. And if you're the Oilers and this is the decision you wanted to make, like, again, could they have fired Kris Knoblauch last night? Probably, yeah. Did they want all this to get out? No. Let me present to you a couple of theories that I believe and that I've pieced together based on the numerous reports we've heard. I think there is a world where inside the Edmonton Oilers organization, there was some sort of a split. I think there was a camp that said, we are bringing back Kris Knoblauch. I want Kris Knoblauch to coach this team. He deserves another chance. I think there was a camp that said, we need to make changes. We need to fire the coach. Look at what the star players are saying. This team needs a new voice. I think there might have been a conflicting feeling, and that's going to happen when you have a bunch of people sitting at the table, which the Oilers do, whether it's Coffey, who probably represents Cates, or whether it's Bowman, or whether it's Jackson, or whoever, right? I mean, the star players certainly would have a say in this based on their exit interviews. Like, there would be a split. Not everyone's going to see eye to eye. My theory is there was a split inside this organization on what they're going to do, and the compromise was this. Bruce Cassidy's a hell of a coach. even if you don't think we should fire Kris Knoblauch, you can agree that Bruce Cassidy's probably a pretty good coach for this team. So if we can get Bruce Cassidy, we're making a coaching change. If we cannot get Bruce Cassidy, we're not making a coaching change because we believe Kris Knoblauch is truly the second best option. I think that's the consensus they reached. So they went, all right, we need to go through this the right way. We need to ask Vegas for permission on, are we allowed to talk to Bruce Cassidy?
Yeah.
Vegas said no, or some variation of the term no. Whether it's wait and see, not now, whatever, they said some variation of no. I then think this word got back to Bruce Cassidy's agent, who said, fuck that, and leaked it. And I think the Oilers are sitting there going, damn it, why'd you do that? I think the Golden Knights are sitting there going, we have a game tonight against the Ducks. We don't care about any of this. And I think Bruce Cassidy's agent is doing what's best for his client, which is making this information public so his client can get another job. I think that is my read on the situation as an outsider, and I suppose I'll leave it at that.
I mean, it seems pretty normal to think that way. Like,
I don't think I'm making like unrealistic leaps based on the information we have.
I think the leak as well, like, seems pretty obvious who would have done that.
And again,
I will say, yesterday when we thought the LA Kings had interviewed him, I did have a conspiracy that it was Ken Holland. For the reason being that he would just want to like spite Jeff Jackson.
I mean, I don't hate that.
Yeah, obviously
that's a little bit more out there, but
totally. But you know, you gotta have a universe brain once in a while. Mike made a great point in the chat as well. As like the Oilers would have had to have asked the New York Rangers to talk to Kris Knoblauch,
and it didn't get out.
Yeah, and it didn't get out. Yeah, it didn't get out. Yeah, there's a lot of layers to this. Is it unfortunate that the Knoblauch era, is coming to like such a dramatic end? Yes. It's also quite ironic too that there's this much drama around the coach that didn't even yell at the ref when Leon Draisaitl got creamed into the boards. Like, there's so many layers to all of this, but it is what it is, man. Like, he did a bad job this year. You can point to it and say it was management, like we said, sure. Players obviously on some blame, but at the end of the day, the Oilers just lost in 6 games to the Anaheim Ducks. Injuries, of course, played a factor, but it was still lifeless for 6 games. They played an 82-game regular season where they could not get a grip on it once. Well, actually, I'll give them one. The 5-game win streak they had in like March, whatever that was. So, okay, so it took you all the way to March to get any kind of rhythm in your team. And while guys like Podkolzin performed and Savoy gradually got better, I mean, there was a lot of guys too who just completely underperformed, and it's probably not that much of a coincidence. It was the guys that Bowman brought in.
Jello in the chat says,
Hello.
not going to lie, that's weird. Either you believe in your coach or you don't. You don't go look for another coach if you believe the one you have is good enough. I'll throw an analogy, and it's not perfect, but like, let's say the Toronto Maple Leafs said, we're going to trade Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
And they called the Edmonton Oilers and said, Matthews for McDavid, it's the only deal we're taking. And the Oilers were obviously like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And then the Oilers said, Leon for Matthews. And the Leafs said, well, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't mean the Leafs don't believe in Austin Matthews. It means they would trade him for the guy who they perceive to be better, but they won't trade him for a guy who they perceive to be worse. The Edmonton Oilers are fine swapping Kris Knoblauch for Bruce Cassidy because it's a guy that they perceive to give them a better shot at winning a Stanley Cup. I don't think you sit there and go, we're firing Kris Knoblauch, and let's hope, cross our fingers, that we can get Bruce Cassidy, because if we don't get Bruce Cassidy, what are we doing? They maybe think Peter Laviolette is a worse coach. They maybe think a Manny Malhotra or someone like that isn't experienced enough to get the most out of this group. There is a world where this front office believes there is one coach who is a better fit for this group than Kris Knoblauch, and it is Bruce Cassidy. And they said, let's try to improve our team by whatever margin we think. And if we can't, we're not just going to sit here and take a home run swing and a home run risk when we can do it safely and not fire Knoblauch first. Like, I kind of get that logic a little bit. So I don't know if I totally believe in that. And now there's another wrinkle in this whole thing. Craig Berube has been fired by the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, goddamn.
2 more years left on his deal, $4.5 million. So much like the Oilers, Toronto is going to be cutting a $9 million check to someone who is not going to coach their hockey club next season.
Which also shows the pressure in both markets.
Bingo. But now there's another Canadian market, and I really wanted to play this clip from a few weeks ago when Bruce Cassidy himself was on a show in our network, Leafs Morning Take, with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill. Here's what Bruce Cassidy had to say about the idea of coaching in Canada.
You're Canadian. You ever thought about what it would be like to coach in Canada one day?
Yeah, I mean, I to me, it's, being a Canadian. I mean, I represented Canada this year at the Olympics, 4 nations. It's a great honor, but I haven't done a deep dive into it. Usually the first thing you think of is the market. Does the team have a chance? How does it impact your family? And then you worry about the city later. And, is ownership solid? Things like that. But yeah, it'd be kind of cool to do it. I tell you what, it'd be cool to win a Stanley Cup in in a Canadian city right now, because it's been a while. So that'd be something else.
That would be cool. Pretty
Straight
cool.
from, as they say, the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
And then straight from a pretty reliable mouth. Elliot Friedman saying today on 32 Thoughts that Bruce Cassidy, even with the Toronto news, Bruce Cassidy's preference is to coach the Edmonton Oilers. Come on.
Yeah, the stars are kind of aligning here.
So, Liam, yesterday you and I sat in these two chairs, as we do Monday through Friday, noon Mountain Time. Oil up. Don't end the show. And we declared from the news desk of Oilers Nation Everyday that Bruce Cassidy was going to be the Edmonton Oilers' next head coach. Your first question today for our friends at Capital GMC Buick, Edmonton's highest volume GMC dealer and the #1 certified pre-owned dealer in Alberta. Also, the dealership that hooked us up with the all-new Nation truck, my all-electric Hummer that I love driving and is plugged in right now, charging up for a long weekend full of adventure in it. CapitalGMCBuick.ca. Your first question, let me make sure I read it right from the script. Are you more or less confident than you were 24 hours ago that Bruce Cassidy will be the next head coach of the Edmonton Oilers?
I guess I haven't really swayed, to be honest. I feel the same way I did yesterday. I mean, I feel like the Oilers would really have to mess this up at this point to not have him as the head coach. And now, I'll say more confident if the news that Spectre's reporting that Knoblauch is probably done here. Mm-hmm. Then it's probably fair to assume they have a plan lined up, and I would assume that's Cassidy. So yeah, I would say I'm slightly more confident.
I'll give you a prediction on how the next 4 days around these parts go.
All right.
At some point in the next 6 hours, we'll get a tweet from Elliot Friedman that says the Edmonton Oilers have officially parted ways with Kris Knoblauch.
Okay.
And then 35 seconds after that, the Oilers will put out a release of their own, because that's how this stuff works.
Yeah.
So Friedman will nail it, all that. And then tomorrow night, I believe it's tomorrow night, the Vegas Golden Knights will eliminate the Anaheim Ducks in 6 games. Great season for the Ducks. Vegas is off to a conference final to play the Colorado Avalanche Friday morning. Now that the Golden Knights have a couple of days off, we are hearing, and this will probably be another tweet from Friedman or someone, we're hearing that the Edmonton Oilers have permission to talk to Bruce Cassidy, and Saturday morning, Bruce Cassidy is officially announced as the Edmonton Oilers head coach. That's my prediction on the next 72 hours.
Good theory. I think that's how it'll probably go too. The Vegas thing
Maybe they'll wait till Tuesday and let us enjoy our long weekend.
Yeah. The Vegas thing is interesting in all of this because they don't owe anybody really anything. And I think it's fair for them to turn back and be like, hey guys, we got some shit going on right now. Let's just back off here for a second. Bruce will be available in a couple of days. I guess there's the other side of it too, is what does it really matter to them at all as well? But I don't think they're as much of the villain in this as they're kind of being made out to be. I don't think anyone's really done anything that wrong. Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
So am I more or less confident? Honestly, the fact that Friedman's come out and thrown cold water on the whole. He interviewed in L.A.
Yeah.
Bruce Cassidy is not interviewed in L.A. Mm-hmm. I have that confirmed. Bruce Cassidy did not interview with the L.A. Kings.
Yeah.
So Dave Pagnotta texted me. I got all my bases covered. I can confidently say that.
Okay.
The fact that it is now out today, and again, Friedman is so connected. If Elliot Friedman's going on record and saying Bruce Cassidy wants to coach the Edmonton Oilers, that might be maybe even Bruce and the Oilers' way of getting around that whole pesky Vegas Golden Knights permission thing.
Yeah.
It's, hey, Bruce, would you be interested in coaching in Western Canada? And Bruce Cassidy goes, mm-hmm.
Yes, I would. And it's not. I don't like Vancouver.
Yeah, and I'm
That's what it
scared
is.
of the ocean,
Yeah.
which he might be.
Well, he's never coached in Ocean City.
Yeah, so like again, you don't want to take that risk if you're Bruce Cassidy.
Maybe
Who
Boston.
knows?
I don't know.
Yeah, actually, Boston is a harbor town. But,
Yeah.
well, whatever. We don't care. Facts are whatever. It's the Pacific Ocean specifically scared of. That might be their way of skirting around this because now the Oilers go like, wink, thank you for asking, Bruce Cassidy that question. Now that we know he's interested, we will fire Kris Knoblauch. And again, I asked Merrick this question today, point blank. I said, is there any world where you can see the Vegas Golden Knights successfully blocking this move?
Yeah.
And Merrick said no. He said the NHL would have something to say about that. And the other thing, as much as Vegas can do this whole puff their chest out, we do whatever we want to win, ruthless kind of thing. If Vegas wants to do that, one, they might be tanking their chances of hiring future experienced head coaches if those coaches go, hold up. If I sign a 4-year deal with you and you gas me after year 2, you're going to block me from getting another job. Like
Yeah, not the best look.
that will hurt their chances. 2, the Coaches Association would probably have something to say about this. And 3, if the Coaches Association has something to say about it, Gary Bettman would have something to say about it, where he would probably call up Bill Foley and say, is this your doing? And if Bill Foley said, yeah, I'm not letting Bruce Cassidy go to a division rival, fuck my $4.5 million. Gary would say, smarten up, asshole. And
Yeah.
then the deal would get done. Or if Bill Foley said, this is the first I'm hearing of it, he would go to Kelly McCrimmon and probably say, I would like my $4.5 million back, let Bruce Cassidy go to Edmonton. So Jeff Merrick himself said, there's no way that they successfully block this move. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's not much more to add. Get your Cassidy jerseys. If they have them, I would imagine there's some available.
Yeah.
But it's a good hire. It should be a good hire. We'll have Colby on, who played for Bruce Cassidy, by the way. It was in the Boston organization when he was there at the very least. Has a relationship with him. And look, I know there's the idea, too, that Bruce Cassidy can wear thin on guys. But worry about that after McDavid signs another extension.
Yeah, I'll worry about that in year 3 when
Yeah.
hopefully the Oilers have a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
I'd rather take even if you want to call it a 10% better chance at winning a cup with Cassidy, even though it's probably less, 5% chance. Versus, well, at least they got a nice coach McDavid might like.
Yeah.
Like, the time's now to win.
Let's get going here.
What did you make of the Toronto Maple Leafs firing Craig Berube? Does Craig Berube's firing make you want to maybe sit there and interview both of them?
Craig Berube?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. I think I'm shocked it took them so long, to be honest. Their season's been over longer than the Oilers has been over. And
Yep.
I mean, they did get the GM, and now he gets to make his call of who he wants to be his head coach. And Chaika, very interested to see who they would go with, because obviously I don't think the Maple Leafs will ever think of a rebuild in this era.
They
Obviously,
can't, yeah.
they want to keep progressing forward. So how do you go about that side of things? So yeah, I wasn't surprised. Again, Berube did a bad job. They finished with 78 points this season. They won a playoff round the year before. So, again, it's similar to Knoblauch in a way of, like, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle of how much success they should have probably really had. And they failed there. Injury, sure, played a bit of a part in it, but you still have a really good, decent roster. And you lost Mitch Marner in the process. Was that on Berube? Probably not as much as, like, the fan base being on him, a bunch of stuff like that. But, like,
Might be a little lumber.
but I was going to say, like, did not play a factor as well. So, yeah, I wouldn't consider Craig Berube here. Great. He won a Stanley Cup. Maybe a bit of a fluke.
I mean, yeah, the one time he went out of the second or made it deeper than the second round of the playoffs was that miracle season with the Blues when they won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
He has been an NHL head coach for, I think, for 10 seasons, 10 different seasons. Lost in round 1, out of the playoffs, won his Stanley Cup, lost in round 1, lost in round 1, lost in round 2, out of the playoffs, fired at the 28-game mark, lost in round 2, out of the playoffs.
Well, they probably need a bit more than that.
And I do think the Oilers need a good, like a head coach who can get a solid defensive structure in here, and they need assistants who can fix the PK and all of that stuff. I just think Berube might be too far that way.
Yeah.
And I think
so,
he's... And again, listen, a local guy, Calahoo, like the story of it would be cool, and he seems like an awesome dude, and he's a former player, and all of that stuff. Like, I don't want this to come off as me just like sitting here and bashing Craig Berube, who has been an NHL head coach for a very long time, and he's qualified and all that stuff. With what I saw in Toronto, I think his philosophies and the way he coaches is a touch outdated.
If you want McDavid to leave, that's probably the right hire.
Yeah.
That would be my thoughts.
Yeah. All right. So we're still not backing off our prediction that it is Bruce Cassidy's bench next year.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we've heard literally another name connected with the Oilers.
No.
I mean, they currently have a head coach still as of 12:26 standard mountain
I
time.
do like that Spectre said that. As of 11:37, he hasn't been fired.
Which is funny because you can just click on the tweet and see the time.
Yeah.
There is a timestamp on every tweet.
But you need to be thorough on Twitter. There's a lot of morons out there.
No,
I don't
that
blame
is fair.
Spec for that.
No, that's fine. He was on the big program today, right before I was.
Oh, you're batting cleanup for Spec on the big program.
Yeah, I'm Justin Smoke. He's Edwin Encarnacion. Is that how that
Not
works?
quite the analogy I would have used, but go ahead.
Why not?
Yeah, and I don't like those two were on the same team, I guess, but
They
they were.
Well,
I
Of
would
all
say
the
like
names you picked, Justin
yeah,
Smoke was
and
strange.
Edwin.
well, I saw a video the
Well,
other
respect
day
to the Ed Wing.
I know.
That's-
of the greatest baseball teams to never win, and that Blue Jays team came up. I'm going to tell you the lineup: Ben Rivera, Josh Donaldson, Jose Batista, not Jose, that's his brother. Edwin Encarnacion, Tulo, Smoke. Blanking.
Smoke wasn't on. Smoke was the next year.
No, he was on that team.
2015?
100%.
He wasn't an everyday player. That was Colabello.
No, they both switched in and out. I know my baseball from those from those 3 years. I am dialed.
Okay, finish the lineup.
Kevin Pillar was 9, so then that would
You're missing
mean
the second baseman, I think.
was it Ryan Goins or Devin Travis? It was
Yeah.
one of those two, right?
And then behind the plate, it'd be Russ Martin or Deanna Navarro. That's who else you missed.
Or Justin
Dalton
Toll.
Pompey, pinch running.
If
Foley wasn't on the playoff roster. Because R.A. Dickey wasn't on the playoff roster.
Ari Dickey didn't play.
He did not play playoff games. He was
What
too
a waste
shitty.
of money. When Toll, not Dickey.
Well, we've left Colby Cohen sitting in the wings listening to whatever that was.
Smoke definitely played on that Blue Jays team. Colby just had a hell of a year, though, I will admit.
Our guest line is brought to you by your Prairie Toyota dealers. Looking to dominate off the ice as much as your team does on it? Check out the Toyota Tacoma. Its standard I-Force engine boasts an impressive towing capacity of up to 6,400 pounds. In fact, it's the most powerful Tacoma ever. So whether you're hauling gear to the rink or heading to an away game, you can tackle it with ease. When it's time to load up, the available power liftgate makes loading your gear in and out a cinch. Experience power, capability, and convenience with the Toyota Tacoma. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer during Red Tag Days on from March through May. Colby Cohen, one half of the hit show Morning Cuppa Hockey, joins us. Colby, what do you know about the 2015 Blue Jays?
Oh, boys, I'm a little over my skis when you start talking about the Toronto Blue Jays. Although I will say about, 5-6 years ago when I was like on the roster for NHL radio for Westwood One, that was the U.S. carrier for the national radio. I did a number of Leafs games, and I think we did game 6 against Boston, game 6 and game 7. And they put me up in the hotel that is in the outfield
Sick.
of the Blue Jays stadium, which was cool. Like it was there was no game or anything going on that day, but it was just so cool to open up my windows and like be in the outfield. Like I'd only ever seen that on social media and wherever else, but that was a very cool experience for me.
Justin Smoke, by the way, 8 plate appearances in that playoff run. He was not an everyday player for the Blue
Played
Jays.
132 games in the regular
8
season.
playoff of
So was he on the team or not on the
Yeah,
team?
he was on the team.
Okay,
but
so
he
I
wasn't
was
a key
right.
part until 2016. So, Colby, there's rumors that Bruce Cassidy might be the next head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. Now, I think that's a great fit. Liam thinks it's a great fit. But you're the only one who's played for Bruce Cassidy. Do you think it's a great fit?
Listen, great fit. It's. I don't want to say great fit because you just never know how personalities are going to mesh together, right? And so I don't want to sit here and use the word great. I want to reserve that for if he does become the head coach and we see what the results are in the next 18 months. But do I think it's a good fit? Do I think it makes a lot of sense? I do. I think when you look at Bruce Cassidy, you know you're bringing in a coach that has a winning pedigree. You know you have a coach that has a very specific structure and style that he will bring to your team. And, one thing that I think Edmonton has struggled with, and even in the cup run years when they've flipped the switch, I think puck management has always been something that we've always looked back on and we've said, and I'm newer to Oilers Nation bandwagon, and I've watched the Oilers so much more over the last 2 years than I ever have in my entire life, because there's a great reason to. They've been a very entertaining hockey team, and then obviously the relationship with you guys and the fans and just all of Oilers Nation that you guys have really built. So I think that he will bring that to this club, and I think the one thing is that you just have to make sure that you've got the buy-in from the best player in the world on this, like whether they will ever admit to it or not. And to be honest, like what I've heard that Connor is less vocal than Leon and Zach Hyman. I've heard that Leon and Zach Hyman have more to say about the view that they have on what this team needs to do. And I've heard that Connor is more hands off, believe it or not. And he's more like, I'll take whatever you give me and make it work. And I'm not saying the other guys are complaining. I'm just saying, like, just from talking to some different players, let me be clear, this is coming from different players that I've just kind of have connections to in or around the team, other organizations, whatever. Like, that's kind of the word on it. So I just think you need to make sure, because here's the thing, like whether Leon and Connor are the number 1 and number 2, or the number 1 and number 4 best players in the world, or whatever that ranking is, they will not have a free lunch with Bruce Cassidy. Like, they will not. If you take a lazy change or you turn a puck over, like whether it's Connor or Leon, like Bruce will have something to say about it. He's notorious about going after superstar players. He's not afraid to get on, and I'm not saying Brad Marchand is the same thing. I'm not saying David Pastrnak is the same thing. But in Boston, he was not afraid to go after the superstars and eventually wore those guys welcome out. And so, which is ultimately why you moved on from him, because you're not going to find a better X's and O's guy. You're not going to find a guy who holds players accountable more. Like, you're not going to find any of that. So I think Bruce has the ability to come in, and I always say, like, a coach can make you 20% better, 80% worse, somewhere in that range. Maybe some coaches 30, maybe a little more. I think you have the full potential with Bruce to like elevate this team to that full 30% level. So I think that's probably the reason why, he's the name that everybody's kind of hitting on right now.
But just to jump in again here, Liam, my counter, like you're talking about, like, are the star players on board? Do they want them? I would almost argue that if they were to sit there and be like, oh, we don't want Bruce. Why? Well, he's hard on us, or he's too defensive, or whatever. If you're sitting there, and I'm not saying this has obviously happened, but if Hyman or McDavid or Draisaitl were like, no, we don't want him, I'd sit there and be like, well, then how bad do you want to win? Like, the guy's a Stanley Cup champion. He coaches great regular season teams. Like, if you don't buy in with Bruce Cassidy for 2 seasons, and I get that he might have a short shelf life and all that shit, but if you don't recognize the state you're in as a key player on the Edmonton Oilers, with your age, with the Connor contract, all that stuff, if you don't have it in you to dig in for 2 seasons and play the right way and do little things better and look internally and improve, then then get the hell out of here. Yeah.
Yeah. And guys, like, there's a guy right now playing in the playoffs, Pavel Dorofeev, who is starring right now. And, I want you to kind of go back and think about some of the struggles that he had early in his tenure coming into the NHL. Like, he was very up and down. He was in and out of Bruce Cassidy's doghouse early on, which is a place that I am very familiar with. And I remember talking to Butch, and I'll refer to him as Butch Cassidy. Butch is what the players call him, Butch or Butchie. And I remember talking to Butch a little bit about him, when I was in Chicago working, and he knew, like, this kid has the opportunity to be a special type of goal scorer. I just got to get him to commit to some of these other things. And I look at, Eichel had a 94-point season with Bruce Cassidy. So it's not like you can't play offense. Like, Bruce Cassidy was an offensive-only type of player. He was a defenseman, first-round pick, couldn't play because his knees got banged up, or he would have had a good NHL career. He was a stud offensively. So it's not like the offensive side of the game is lost on him. He just understands that if you can have neutral zone structure, right, and puck management better than everyone else, you do have a chance to win every year. So, I look at a guy like Dorofeev and I'm like, look, is he really going to make Connor or Leon that much better of a player? No, he could maybe add a little bit of accountability to those guys at some times. What he can really do is get all the other players to get on board or get the fuck out, to be completely blunt. And, I've seen it. I think you need to make sure you have one alpha male, Liam, in that locker room that can go back at Bruce. And again, I'm not sure who that guy is. Like, maybe, because it just doesn't. I have a hard time seeing Connor McDavid have an argument with his head coach on the bench. Like, I don't know if that's his. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But you do need one guy. Like, when Vegas lost Alex Pietrangelo to maybe career ending, we don't really know. I think that Pietrangelo was the guy who stood up and pushed back, because first off, Cassidy likes that. He likes it. Second off, you need a guy with the swagger to push back on him at times, because he can get after guys a certain amount on the bench, and it can just wear you down. So you just need that one guy who can stand up to him and say, hey, listen, not now. Like, literally, I've heard guys get in his face and say, pipe down, we got it. And he does. He backs off. And then, listen, it's never personal. He ripped my fucking life apart on the bench during games. Torrey Krug told a great story on Spittin' Chicklets in the last couple of days where, we were in the American League. I was there for this. And Torrey was new. And Torrey was struggling right off. You could see that he was a good player, but he was trying to figure out pro hockey. And a guy that we both had played with in Providence, Andrew Bodnarchuk, he had a decent NHL. He played 100 games in the NHL, something like that. He was a good two-way defenseman type of kid. And he came by the bench talking shit to Torrey, who he had played with the year before, and he's telling him how much he sucks and he's struggling or whatever. And Butch looks at Torrey and he's like, he's got a point there, Torrey. Like, and so, like, he can be fucking ruthless on the bench at times. Like, he can be ruthless.
Well, it seems like the alpha would probably be Leon Draisaitl,
Yeah, that's Leon.
I would assume. So at least the others have that. But there's something I've been wondering about. I'm curious what you would think of this, Colby. Is like, I wonder if they should bring back, and maybe not him specifically, but like, I feel like Corey Perry was maybe a little bit more missed when the playoffs came around, and like, not just him, but like his character of someone who's like not afraid to just go on the ice and do something to try and bring it a little bit of life. I think of like an AJ Greer, for example, as well. Of like, they don't really give a shit what they do, but they just need to get their team back into the fight. Do you think the Oilers miss that bit of life a little bit too? Like, people say like Doc and Frederick, but I just don't think they're those kind of guys. Like, they will join the fight for sure, but I don't think they'll make the fight.
Yeah, I think that's one hole, Liam, but I don't think that was the difference this season. No. And I'm not suggesting you're saying that at all. I think that would bring a guy like Corey Perry in. I think Greer, Corey Perry, like those types of players, like Cassidy has a lot of love and respect for those players. Like he's a guy that can really appreciate the role of a third or fourth line type of guy, more even fourth liner than I feel like a third liner, because a lot of third liners can get up and down the lineup. A lot of fourth liners are really not up and down the lineup types of guys. And again, like, you go back to his days of having success and you look at some of those bottom six forwards and just how committed they were. The other thing I'll say about Butch is like his practices are very intentional. One thing I remember was that even in the American League, like we practice things to not like to nauseum. Like, we would practice the same thing over and over and over and over. And when we were good at it, we practiced it some more. And there were certain areas of our game, even in Providence that year, I'm pretty sure we were the 1 seed. It was like my 4th year. We were like the 1 seed going into the playoffs. And like, boy, were we structured. Like, we were a well-oiled machine. You knew where to go with the puck every time you got it. You knew that if you were going to freelance, it better work. Because you know what? If you freelanced and it worked, he didn't say anything. If you freelanced and it didn't work, you were going to hear about it. And not just hear about it. You were probably missing shifts at that point. So he's very intentional with his practices. He is very good at making in-game adjustments, probably better than most. Listen, you guys, I don't know if you've been able to watch any of what he's done on TNT. Like, you could just see how his brain works. He's gone to the whiteboard a number of times since he's been on TV, and like, his just ability to find details and then kind of change the structure around based on details. I think that's really good. I think when it comes to special teams, I know that's usually an assistant coach, but if we did what he told us to do to enter the zone on a power play against a pre-scout, it worked every single time. So he's good at what he does, guys. And having said all that, the last thing I do want to throw in there is that, I don't mind what the Oilers did. By the way, they're getting bashed for asking for permission while they still have Knoblauch. I personally don't mind that, because what that tells me is that they like Knoblauch, but maybe they think there's an upgrade out there, which would be Bruce Cassidy. And to me, I think that's what the Oilers have done here. They've said, if we could get Cassidy, we'll move on from Knoblauch. Otherwise, we think Knoblauch's a good coach, and maybe we need to surround him with some different assistant coaches. I think, it hasn't been cohesive between him and the assistants the last couple of years. I think that's well covered, right? Like, Paul Coffey's on, he's off, he comes back. What kind of impact did he have on the D-corps that first year? Is there different ideas from the Coffey as compared to Knoblauch on how they should play, how they should defend, how they should hold guys accountable, all that type of stuff. So if all this wears off and Knoblauch is still the coach and you go surround him with some really good assistants, like, I still don't think that this team is like gone for dead here. Like, I mean, they did go to 2 cup finals with Knoblauch. Like, let's just make sure that before the body's cold, like, we're not burying him. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to come on and at least say that. And I don't mind the way, like, that Stan has done this. I think that he would have been irresponsible not to talk to Bruce Cassidy while Bruce Cassidy's quote unquote unemployed, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe they leave a meeting and think this is a great fit. It's not a great fit, right? But you got to at least have that conversation, and you're not looking around going, all these other guys are upgrades from Knoblauch. So, like, that's probably why they are where they are with this whole thing. And let's say Knoblauch returns to be the head coach. Do you guys know how much Knoblauch makes? Like, 4 and change?
He's got a 3x3 extension that kicks in next year.
Okay, so he's got 9 million reasons why he can show up and be a good pro and coach the Edmonton Oilers really, really well, right? Like, there's no times for butthurt feelings. It's like, okay, I'm still the coach. I'm going to do as good a job as I can and try to win a Stanley Cup. So,
yeah, I completely agree. And I said this earlier in the show, but like, if this was the other way around and it was Vegas trying to do this, they would be labeled as a ruthless organization who does whatever it takes to win. But the Oilers do it, and they're labeled unprofessional, unethical.
I don't think any of that is true. I don't think any of that's true.
You don't that what I said about the Oilers?
No, I'm saying I don't think that it's true. Like, I'm agreeing. I think you're 100% right, Liam. I'm sorry. I'm saying I don't think that it's true. I think it's total BS to sit here and drag Stan Bowman through the mud on this in particular situation, because you're always looking for a reason to drag Stan Bowman through the mud. Like, you go into every situation wondering, what kind of negative angle can I take against Stan Bowman? Because people have other issues with him, some fair, some unfair. Okay? Mm-hmm. So I'm with you, Liam. I think it's BS. I think it's nonsense. I think the St. Louis Blues said we could get a better coach. So they went out and got Jim Montgomery hired and gave him a long-term contract before they walked away from, was it Drew Bannister was his name? Yeah. So like this is not out of the norm. It's not out of the norm whatsoever. It's Stan Bowman. So everybody's gonna go for his throat.
The Oilers did this with Kris Knoblauch. They hired Kris Knoblauch.
In season, though, I do think there's a
but
bit
it's,
of a
it's
difference.
the same thing. They had to get permission. They had to talk to him, and there is a difference for sure. But like, they still did this with Knoblauch, and now it's just happening to him. And it's unfortunate. Again, it's like just coming to a dramatic end. He had a good tenure, but this season sucked, and the Oilers have no time to waste to find out if he can rebound. Like, he's Gary right there. Go ahead.
Let me just make one more statement that I sort of believe to be true. I think ownership is really involved in this. I really do. I think there's a lot of pressure coming from the top to make a change, even if, let's say, you know, the guys that are the front men, whether it's Jackson, Stan, even if they would be really comfortable bringing Knoblauch back, restocking the assistants, rebuilding the staff. I believe that the push has come from above. And again, I think the other thing is that the push has come from above because Bruce Cassidy has the status that he has as you know, a Stanley Cup winning coach that, you know, isn't like you guys were talking about Chief before I came on and how you didn't think he would be the right fit. I would agree with you guys on that. Like, I don't think, you know, Berube is necessarily the right fit for this team. You know, and so again, like, I think there's a million angles you can come at it, and I have heard rumors that it's actually all going to happen today, and I almost wonder if like if they were gonna do it this week, they just say, you know, we got to do it today because we just want to get mixed up in the Maple Leaf news and try to kind of keep a little bit of the news just kind of flowing around. But it is nonetheless an interesting situation. But I'll defend Stan Bowman here on this particular scenario. I don't believe there's anything wrong with the way that he's handled his business. I think he's gone about it exactly how you should go about it to be responsible to a multi-billion-dollar organization, a city, an ownership group, a fan base, you know, Oilers Nation, ON Everyday, you name it, right? Like, this is what he should have done.
Last one for you before we let you go. We were trying to speculate the other day on like, is there any like veteran out there that Bruce Cassidy would bring with him on his staff? And one name that I noticed that definitely follows him around quite a bit, and you had him, was Kevin Dean. Did you have good experiences with Kevin Dean? Like, is that a guy who you think could help the Oilers with their PK and stuff?
Kevin Dean can help any team. He's got a couple of years left on his contract in Vancouver. I know that for a fact. He's at World Championships right now. Dino and Butchie were together in Providence, and then once Butch got his hand on the staff in Boston, he brought him right up. I know those guys have a very, very deep connection, a deep bond. You know, an interesting relationship too. I think when you work with someone for that long, sometimes you almost like have that we're going to kill each other type of relationship at times, you know, because they were doing everything so hand in hand together. I think Kevin Dean is one of the low-key best defense coaches there is in the game of hockey. He was a good player, but his personality is perfect with Bruce Cassidy. He really understands how to be Robin for Bruce Cassidy, obviously being Batman, just personality-wise. I think he's a great detail coach for defensemen. The amount of little things he pointed out to me when I was playing are all things that I use now when I'm coaching. They're all things that I really got from both guys, but a lot from Kevin Dean. I remember at times, like, I was struggling. I wasn't playing well. I was in the doghouse with Butch, and I get a text from Dino, hey, come on, meet me over at, for lunch. Let's grab lunch. Let's have a beer. Whatever. Like, just like he understood. At times you need X's and O's. At times you might need an arm around you. At times you just need to shoot the shit. You know, Dino's a guy who comes into the locker room every day, loves his job. He smiles. He drinks coffee with the players. You know, you look at his track record, right? Like, he was there when Charlie McAvoy, you know, started to really come into his own. He worked with Torrey Krug as a first-year pro defenseman. There's a reason Vancouver brought him in. They look at Tom Willander. They look at some of those other higher end young Zeev Bouillon they traded for, but I think Vancouver would be crazy to walk away from Kevin Dean because of all the young defensemen they have in Vancouver. You look at Chicago, man, the emergence of Alex Vlasic. You look at, the way that the Blackhawks penalty killed when they couldn't do anything else right in Chicago, the penalty kill. There's always one or two defensemen that take such big steps when they're playing for Kevin Dean that if Bruce Cassidy was to get the job, I think that Kevin Dean would be a great person to look at. But again, I know for a fact he's got a contract extension. Like, he has multiple years left on his contract in Vancouver. But that's obviously a weird scenario right now. Like, nobody has any – like, those guys, I feel for Footy. I played with Footy. I love that guy. I love Kevin Dean. Like, it's kind of shitty for those guys because they're taking such a long time in Vancouver that, like, I think a lot of these good coaches could end up not having opportunities because they're waiting to see if they're going to keep their jobs or not. And so I think that's a great call out by you, Tyler. Like, if you want a guy who can come in and make your D-core better and try to clean up some of the details in the game, I think Kevin Dean is a name that should be on everyone's list for every job if he becomes available, right? But there's some good names available out there, like some good assistant. I mean, some good, Columbus walked away from a couple of really good assistant coaches, guys that have some winning pedigree before. I know Bruce Cassidy even coached with one of the guys in Columbus that got let go. They coached together in the minors years and years ago in Trenton. I'm talking about a guy named Mike Havlin. Like, there's just a lot of good, there's a lot of good people out there. I feel like assistant coaches sometimes get let go in different scenarios and it doesn't get as much press, but there's really good names out and around. Like, I think would make for some really good assistants. And look, like, I don't know what John Stevens is, I'm not sure what his outlook is in Vegas, but I mean, you look at the winning that guy's done. I'm sorry, like, it's not a coincidence that he's got like 4 Stanley Cups on the bench running defensive cores. It's not a coincidence. John Stevens is as good as they come. So, that's another guy. Like, who knows if John Tortorella gets to keep that job, which I would think he will get to keep that job. Yeah. Is John Stevens a guy that they move on, like he moves on from? Like, you have no idea, right? I mean, Bruce brought Joel Ward along on that bench in Vegas. He brought Dominic Ducharme, or however I'm saying, the guy from Montreal. He brought him in. So there will be great options if Bruce Cassidy does take the job. And the one other thing I'll say, and I know I'm going way longer than you guys probably wanted to have me on today, but Bruce does have kids that are high school aged, right? And I think one of the reasons that I always sort of wondered, like, would LA be more appealing to him than Edmonton? Just because, like, listen, he does have a family. His kids have gone through the American school system since I played for him. I mean, they were little when I played for him, but they are in high school. And, you just wonder about that. Like, I'm not saying that would be the main factor if you're getting an opportunity to come coach for the Edmonton Oilers and coach McDavid and Draisaitl. But I do think that's a part of it that I wouldn't overlook. I just wouldn't completely call this a done deal and overlook it because, I think family matters. I know he's a family guy. I know his family really matters to him. And his kids are in athletics and they're high school aged and that can always be tough. And you just, it's a point worth at least mentioning, I think.
They're going to love the schools in Edmonton.
I'm sure there's good ones. And I'm sure there's nice people there. I mean, listen, it's the best province. We know that, right? I mean, you can't have a better province in Canada, although, yes, we did all 10 this morning.
So, wait, yeah, can you explain what was happening on Morning Cuppa today? Was it you or Johnny? Was someone struggling to name provinces? What was going on?
So, I wasn't 100% sure if, like, and then obviously I made a comment about Ottawa and I was like, wait a sec, Ottawa's Ontario, right? Like I wasn't 100%. I know Ottawa's the capital, right? I know that, And I know lacrosse is the national sport in Canada, not hockey, which is not something many people know. Because I chose Canada for Country Day in 3rd grade, so I have all this this institutional Canadian knowledge. But so I wasn't 100% sure, and I said, hey, I asked the chat, I said, Ottawa's not in Quebec province, right? It's in Ontario province, right? And so then Johnny jumped all over me and called me a moron. So I was like, Johnny, can you name the provinces in Canada? Can you name any of them? Any of them? And he's like, we have a guest. Don't be rude. And then I started yelling at Johnny, completely ignoring our guest. Started yelling at Johnny. He's like, you're being insane. He's texting me on the side. You're being insane. And, then 20 minutes later, after he Googled it, he started listing them off and acting like he actually knew the provinces. Now, I can't name all 10, but I could name most of them. I can make my way through most of them and point out where they are in Canada. I could do that. But yeah, he really pissed me off with that this morning.
Well, we won't make you name all 10, Colby. But thank you for your time today. This was awesome. You gave us some great insight into
I just had a
Butch
double
Cassidy.
espresso before I came on, by the way. That's why
Someone in the chat asked. They were like, did Colby have a lot of
miles
coffee?
per hour. Oh, yeah. I just had another one. So I got a lot going on at home. My kids just got back. They were away, and we got shit going on in my house. So I need to be jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Hell yeah. All right. Okay. Great stuff, Cole. Thanks for popping on.
Colby.
We'll chat with you soon.
Love you guys.
Okay.
Great mustache,
Bye.
Liam.
Thank you. I did it, grew it myself.
Well, yep. That was great. Thank you to Colby. His answer on Kevin Dean was awesome. You know who else I'd like to see in the mix? I know the chat's on this name out there. Give me Bruce Cassidy, head coach, Kevin Dean, or whoever. And then Tom Gazzola said something interesting
You
the
want
other day.
Tom on the bench?
No, I don't want Tom on the bench.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I'd be fine with Tom on the bench. I like Tom enough. Said something along the lines of the veterans that the Oilers would listen to.
Oh,
and
I
how
saw this.
Derek Ryan was a guy they listened to, and Corey Perry's a guy they listened to. But I'd be curious if you put a younger assistant coach on the forward side of things. What if you went, again, Bruce Cassidy, you get a good veteran head coach for that back end, and what if you put Mark Letestu on the bench on the forward side, a guy who understands a modern power play. He's been cutting his teeth in the American League. He was the head coach of the Colorado Eagles last year. Now, would he take an assistant job in the NHL? I don't know. Maybe he's really trying to angle to get a head coach job one year. And listen, they had an awesome year. The Eagles won 41 games last year and 70 out of 72.
Are they still in the playoffs, or are they done?
I don't know if they're still in the playoffs or not.
Oh, luck. You carry on.
I'd be curious for that. Would Mark Letestu say, hey, you know what? A chance to learn from Bruce Cassidy, get on an NHL bench? And is that a guy who follows the mold of a Derek Ryan who, is that a voice Connor and Leon would really listen to on the coaching staff?
Yeah, maybe. Someone they assumably respect. They are still going, by the way. They're in the Pacific Division Finals against Grand Furious Coachella Valley. So, yeah, maybe Letestu's good. I like the idea. Someone who has been there, done it as well, right? Played on the power play with the guys who are still on it now. So, yeah, I don't mind the idea. Just give me other experience everywhere. To be honest, I don't know a lot about assistant coaches. I just know what I see from the Oilers' current staff, and it was underwhelming. And I think those guys might have a weird time, getting jobs.
Yeah.
I don't want to be disrespectful to them, but Mark Stewart, your penalty kill was one of the worst in the league for back-to-back playoff runs.
Yeah, I think he might have a tough time getting a job.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I just kind of hope this news comes down sooner rather than later, to be honest. Just waiting on the world to change, to quote John Mayer.
Waiting.
You're a Modern Family fan?
Yeah.
Do you remember that clip? And it was we got to take you on your John Mayer poster. She's like, but it's signed. She's like, your dad signed it. And he says, oh my God, it says your body is a wonderland. That is a funny show. That is a very funny show. You need a charger?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
You got it?
There we go.
That was good, though, from Colby. Good to get the inside
Colby's
track of,
great. Yeah.
what's he like, Cassidy? And if he holds the best players to a standard, and I'm sure most coaches do. I'm sure Knoblauch didn't sit there and just allow them to do whatever they wanted, of course, the standards. But if he holds them to such a high regard, then that tells me he holds everybody to a high regard.
Yeah.
It's not just like, come on, Freddie, figure it out. It's like, well, no, Trent Frederick is just a fourth-line player on this team currently. You need your best players to run it, and they do for the most part in Edmonton, of course. But you need everyone else to have that high standards as well. But it can't just be like a collective group high standard. Obviously, everyone's a bit of they're individuals. So, yeah, I think I'm excited for this to happen. I think it's time. So
I agree.
Let's get moving here. NHL.
Yeah. Anything else to clean up from this? The Berube thing, again, not surprising. I think Toronto's going to go in the direction of maybe a little bit more. I think Edmonton's okay with a short-term win-now finishing style head coach. I think Toronto's going to go more long-term. I think they're going to try to find someone like a Malhotra or whoever. Although Merrick did say today he'd throw Woodcroft in the mix for Toronto.
Be a great option for them.
Be a great option. I think they're going to go more someone on the younger side who they hope can grow with them for the next 5 years.
Yeah, I think Woody would be a good choice. He's had some good seasons. I think he'd be good. He's obviously done a good job in Anaheim too. Despite losing that game last night, they looked great again.
Yeah.
I watched a bit of the hockey game, believe it or not. So that was quite big. But yeah, that would be a good choice. I just think they're in a different realm right now. And it is what it is. What do you think a Austin Matthews package would look like to Edmonton?
I think it is something that the Edmonton Oilers could not do.
I was thinking about this today.
I don't even know where you start.
I don't
honestly.
know. I really don't know either. But like him and McDavid have the same agent.
Yeah.
Same with Werenski and Yosin are all free agents at the same time. What if Judd Moldaver, who is their agent, just made life a little bit easier for two of his free agents right now and was just like, hey, let's just join up. Let's just get Austin to Edmonton. Again, whatever the package is, I don't know. I'm just playing a hypothetical here because I want to. Make his life a little bit easier. Like, hey, both my guys are happy. They're playing with each other. They got Leon Draisaitl, Leon Bouchard. They'll be great together. Is it going to happen? Probably not. But it's fun to dream.
It's fun to dream. Edmonton doesn't have a first-round pick till 2028.
Give him up. That might be the best pick to have.
I mean, maybe. Savoy, like you just go like, oh yeah, okay, you throw in Savoy, It's hard for me to envision this happening without Bouchard going out the door, basically.
Isn't it
in
just
some fashion?
Couldn't it just be the Quinn Hughes deal in some regard? I mean, it's a little bit different, of course, because I think Marco Rossi was a more established player. Ziv Buium, great. Should be a pretty good player, but he was only in the league for a year. The other guy was his
Ziv
name.
Buium, had 14 points in 31 games as a rookie on the blue line.
He's a great player, but my point is he wasn't established, so you still don't truly know what he is as a rounded player. Like Marco Rossi was a centerpiece for the Minnesota side of things.
I would argue that. I'd say Buium was the centerpiece. Although Rossi was a 60-point player in his second year.
I mean.
Okay. I don't think they have a Rossi or a Buium.
Savoy?
Is not Marco Rossi.
How many points did Savoy finish with this year? Like 40? I think
35.
35, okay.
And he's not a centerman.
No, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I do think this chance of this happening are like
0.1, yeah.
But I think that's how the package would begin. At least it's something centered around that. You have their mold is kind of my point. Can they do it again? No. But
Colby's saying it was Buium, not Rossi, as the centerpiece.
What does Colby know?
Colby's still watching. Oh, he's just chilling. We can't bring him back on. We have to. Colby would gladly come on and probably do like 10 more minutes, but we got to move towards wrapping up the show.
But the big
I don't
thing
think this
is
happens.
no, I don't think it happens either. But
Yeah.
I wanted to dream about it.
You just wanted to spew it out there.
Well,
hey, it's
I was
summer.
listening to Bob yesterday because I wanted to hear a little bit more about this stuff. And
What did Bob say?
well, he just made the point that Judd Moldaver has like the 4 hottest free agents in the same year,
They're hot.
and he's just going to basically dictate the league. And
We're
I
luck-
think
we're lucky he
should-
doesn't represent you. I'd be worried about you walking.
Where would I go? I've been on Daily Face-Off once, and they never called me back.
wherever Judd takes you, Liam.
If Judd's getting me that much money, I'll go anywhere.
That's a good point. That's the other thing too. I love when we're like, oh, they're being so mean to Kris Knoblauch. He's gonna get $9 million to not work the next 3 years.
I don't really. Sounds ruthless, but I just don't really care about his feelings.
I don't either.
I
Especially
don't
because
care.
and again, Huts and I did this on DFO Live. I
Bag
if you
milk's
want-
already on
And
with the
again,
memes.
like, I totally understand that, like, the psyche of people who work in professional sports. Bag milk's been killing the memes. They're
Yeah.
very funny. The psyche of people who work in professional sports. That one's messed up. I don't even know what that is. You don't get to that level without being incredibly driven and not being money focused.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand why these coaches go and, like, get right back to work because, like, it's their careers. It's their legacies. They want to keep going, right? If you fall out of the cycle for 3 years, you're probably not getting another job again.
I think, too, like, one thing I saw floating around on the interweb yesterday, which is a bad place to be half the time, but people being like, this is such a poor way to run a business. So, okay, but the NHL isn't your plumbing business. Like, this is not real life. Again, I've said it multiple times.
It's fantasy
It's
land.
just, they do their own thing there.
Yeah.
They'll get paid millions of dollars to sit in their penthouses and just make these decisions and just fire guys left, right, and center, trade people who just have to, like, uproot their lives, and then they just go.
Yeah.
And everyone just moves on. Kris Knoblauch will get a job in the NHL again. He's a great coach. He's a perfectly fine coach. He's done a good job here. But it's just time. They cannot wait and find out, like I said, if he can figure it out. Because the one opportunity he was given to pick his coaching staff, he failed.
He failed miserably.
He fell on his face.
Yeah.
And he paid the consequences. The Edmonton Oilers, with Connor McDavid, who will win MVP this season, with Evan Bouchard, he was not a Norris finalist, but had a caliber of a season where he was at least in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Leon Draisaitl, who would have had another 100-point season. And Zach Hyman, who led the league in whatever that stretch was in goals, finished 41-41 and lost in 6 games to the Anaheim Ducks. You got problems. 99 of them, maybe.
Less than that.
97. The coach
And
is
the coach
one.
is one.
Yeah.
Good point, Aaron. All right. You want to play an impromptu round of Is It Cake?
Sure. Oh, wow. This will be
Bring
interesting.
it back. Is It Cake is a presentation of Derek Dodge. They got an unbeatable deal right now as they kick off a new chapter at the dealership. If you leave Derek Dodge with a new whip, leave the lot with a new vehicle. Trip for 2 to Vegas is on them. Flights and accommodations on them. All you need to do is leave the lot with a new vehicle. Visit them 6211 104th Street Northwest or online at derekdodge.com. We have 2 super chats to get to before we get to Is It Cake because these are substantial. First off, $20 from our friend Tammy, who says, has anyone mentioned that Montreal and Ottawa, PWHL, are going to the finals for the Walter Cup? Hockey rules, man. For Ben, always. Thank you for the donation. Here's what I'll throw your way. The PWHL is expanding once again. Detroit was announced a couple weeks ago or whatever. Today, Hamilton and Vegas got announced.
Yes.
Is it cake? Edmonton and OEG fucked up by not getting a PWHL team.
No, it is not cake.
Oh, why?
I don't think Edmonton... I probably shouldn't say it. It's not even that much of a sports town. It's an Oilers town. I think having like multiple teams here is just like... I just don't want that PWHL team to come and no one care. I don't think that's fair to the players. I think people will give a shit in Hamilton. And Vegas has a good reputation with sports teams, with their basketball team.
The Aces.
The Aces. I thought that's what their name was. Liberty's the New York team. I just don't think Edmonton care that much. And I don't mean to be rude to everyone, but I don't go out of my way to really watch the Elks. The Riverhawks, I'll go to maybe a game a year. And maybe it's just myself, but it's just kind of how I feel about it. The Oilers run this city, and everyone else is just kind of around.
Yeah, I've said that too. It is a Edmonton sports fans support Edmonton sports. Like, not in the same way. Like, again, the Riverhawks draw great. The Stingers do well for themselves as well. We love supporting the Stingers. Like, I like supporting them all.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the PWHL is doing 12,000 plus a game in Edmonton.
How big is the Riverhawks Stadium, Aaron?
I think
7,500, roughly.
And they'll sell it out 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah, and
But
it's filling several thousand per game.
Yeah, and it looks busy. But that, in the grand scheme of things, that's not that many people.
If you put 7,000 in Rogers Place, it looks like a ghost town.
Also, I will
Just go to
say,
any Oil Kings game.
people go to Riverhawks games not for the sport. They're going because it's sunny and it's nice out,
Yeah.
which you don't get that with the PWHL. I will say, it feels like a miss because, like, every event in the hockey world goes down in Edmonton, and it feels like this would have just been a license to shit out more money for OEG. So on that sense, I think it's weird. But Liam, you do make a good point. But
I just don't know if is there room.
I think there's room. And again, like the PWHL has been awesome. Like you look in like Boston and stuff.
I went to the game when it came in. It was fun.
And like the Fleet in Boston are like selling out games still. Like Minnesota, they're doing unbelievable. I just question if Edmonton would support it. And I just don't know. But I do think, I will say it's cake because I would have liked to see OEG try.
I think they will try eventually. I think a team will come here.
Yeah.
I
think so.
Yet.
Eventually, yes, I agree they will. I just think, again, I don't know. It's disappointing that OEG maybe didn't put a better foot forward from what I've heard. But I don't know a ton about it, so I don't really want to keep talking
a
about
lot
it.
of talk about lacrosse as well.
Tammy dropped in $140. I said it when Jeff was hired. Fan club. Sorry, not sorry. Still love my Oilers. Starts with Jeff and then Stan. Coach changes not enough. Love you both. Been a fan of 3 years now. Take care. Dropped in $140. The Ben Stelter Foundation. So appreciate your donation and appreciate your take, Ravina. Next up, is it cake? Is it cake? Weird that the NHL just announced the Calder Trophy today on Twitter.
So there was a.
Did you see where they did it?
They did it on the news, right?
Good
and
Morning
all his
America.
family was
Okay,
there.
so-
it was weird.
He cried. No, it's a tearjerker. They did good.
I'll watch on my own when I'm alone.
So-
I mean, it is seem weird, but I mean, I put a $7 bet on Matthew Schaefer to win when he was plus like 2,000 to win this damn thing. So that was great, unanimous, and rightfully so. I don't know how many there would have been.
That's cake. He deserved to be unanimous.
100. I think it was 138 first place votes, or maybe 190. I can't remember.
198.
198. Good for him. He was
He got
amazing from the
every
start.
single one of them.
That's cool. Like, what a journey for this kid. Like, obviously, just the tragedy he's had to go through in his life. His mom, and I think his billet mom too. Like, for him to get this award, like, he earned everything he's getting right now. And what a season! Like, one of the greatest rookie seasons for a defenseman ever. Like,
Potentially the.
he was in the Norris in the Olympic conversation.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Probably should have gone, but either way, it was great. No votes for Savoy. That's not
Cake or not cake? Should there be outrage about it?
No.
Yeah, I know.
Let me read the ballot again, because I think.
Well, so here's who got votes: Schaefer, Demidov, Beckett Seneca, Jakub Dobish, Jimmy Snuggerud, Jesper Wallstedt, Alexander Nikishin, Ryan Leonard, Ben Kindle, Fraser Minton, Oliver Kapanen, Justin Sordif, Justin Herkovian from Dallas got one fifth-place vote, and Linus Carlson got a fifth-place vote.
I will say it's cake. That he should have got one.
Really?
I mean, at the end of the day, he's a rookie that played on the penalty kill for 82 games. Played 82 games as a rookie on the Edmonton Oilers, who don't really care about young players that much. Eventually elevated his way to the top line. Finished with 18, 19 goals on the season? Like Linus Carlson. I don't know if he had a good season or not, but I would assume it was. What did he do?
Played center on a pretty dog shit Canucks team and put up basically the same number of production that's avoided.
That's good.
In two fewer games.
But that's what I mean. Like, is that just not the same credibility?
Playing center, not being with McDavid, I think there's a bit there.
But Savoy barely played center until after the Olympic break, where no one could play with McDavid.
Yeah.
And then, McDavid's wing, and then eventually got put up there. So I think.
Herkovian had 14 goals too. Like, I don't know. I'm just
but
not.
You asked if he should have got a vote.
Yeah.
So I'll say, if those two guys got fifth place votes, doesn't Savoy match the same criteria? I mean, I don't think he should have won, and I don't think he should have.
No.
But sure, he deserved maybe a vote or two. But at the end of the day, Savoy had a good season. He'll win the Oilers Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the best rookie seasons the Oilers have had in the cap era. Only Taylor Hall has scored more goals as a rookie.
Is that right?
As an Edmonton Oiler, yeah.
Not even Eberle.
Oh.
Wow. That's a good stat.
Eberle was, in his rookie season, Eberle had exactly 18 goals.
So they matched.
So he matched. Taylor Hall scored more.
20.
Connor McDavid, because he missed half the season, only scored 16.
So
and
better.
Leon Draisaitl, in his rookie season, technically only scored 2 goals.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, sure, it's cake. He should have got a fifth place vote.
Sure. All right. There you go. Little impromptu. Is it cake?
Decent rookie class, though, this year.
Yeah.
You pull up those names again, Aaron, if you don't mind.
It was fine. Solid, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was really solid. I think, too, at the start of the season, I don't think we really knew who was going to win. Demidov, I think, started the year as the favorite, if I'm not mistaken. And Snugger, Ryan Leonard, also guys who did it. But, yeah, good class. Beckett Seneca as well. Not my goal. Apparently, I got a lot of hate on that video. Did you
Really?
guys hear about that?
When
What
you
video
said you
is
hated
this?
Beckett
I don't
Center.
know.
know.
I just said, I was like, yeah, I don't like him. And then, so that's what that's like, eh? When I bring that up on, when I do that on ONR every week.
Yep.
Um,
I just refilled my water a little bit with my other water.
And the Ducks mascot commented on the video I found out today. But you know what?
Wild Wing.
Wild
Fuck
Wing?
you, Wild Wing. Shut up.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Got your boys back.
I don't give
I
a shit what
appreciate
that duck has to say.
I do think it's funny when, like, I didn't read the comments. I just saw
Yeah.
Ryder and Lisa told me. Comment away. I'll never read them. And you will just boost the numbers on our clips. Please comment. Comment on this video.
Yeah, you're just Liam's bag's just getting bigger, baby.
I go home, phone goes on the counter, pull up my laptop, go on Twitter. 9 o'clock at night. Just to check in. See what's going on.
Maynard, are we going to touch on the Buffalo goal last night? Crazy.
What happened?
Which one?
So the puck went in, but it was on the glove.
Okay. So
Well,
it's
I actually don't know. I didn't know there was two.
puck goes off the stanchion. There's one. Tage
Oh, I
Thompson
saw
goes
that
off
one.
the stanchion and in. That was just crazy fluke luck.
Yeah, but that was a goal.
That's a goal.
Yeah.
The other one was Buffalo scores. Puck goes into Dobish's glove. Refs don't see it go in.
Okay.
They then go back, watch it, and say the puck went in. So they do a big whole review. Did it go in? Did it not? Conclusive? No, conclusive goal. So after that whole big long review, Montreal goes, goal interference. And
Oh
they do
my fucking
another big long review. It was about a 12-minute break.
So the goal stood on the ice, but then it was disallowed.
It was no
for
goal,
goalie
then it was a goal, then it was no goal for goal interference.
Okay, well, that seems reasonable. I mean, it took a long time, evidently, 12 minutes, you said. But seems fun. Was it goal interference? Hit or miss? What happened? Do we have a...
I
sorry,
think
Aaron.
I think by the book, yeah, but it's one of those where I think like spirit of the rule, I don't think it was.
All right.
So here you go. Look, he cuts across. His own D-man runs into him there, and then that puck goes in.
So where's the... Who'd they call it on 90, whatever that is?
Yeah, Constance Hellenius, who
First
sounds
game.
like a Bible character.
But they're not characters.
Is he related to Sam Hellenius?
I don't know.
Probably.
So the contact is made when he comes across after he shoots.
Right there.
So what's the... Oh. Interesting.
So they're saying that because he ran and took Dobish's stick with him for that little bit, that it was goal interference.
Oh, I don't know what to think. I think that's goal interference.
So, like, did he truly impede Dobish's ability to stop the puck? No, because Dobish stopped the puck.
Yeah,
But
but they call it a goal, I guess.
But did he go into the crease on his own accord? Yes.
Yes.
Did he make contact with the goalie?
yes.
So,
Yeah, I
Goal
think
interference.
by the buck.
it's soft, but it is.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, let's just bring in a rule where you can't go in the crease and just move on with our lives.
I agree.
Wouldn't that just be easier for everyone? Anything else? Any news? Anything as
No.
of 1:18 p.m.?
We can.
We're not going to go live if Knoblauch gets fired, just an FYI for everyone.
I feel like you've all kind of gotten our take on it.
Aaron will be live today at 3, I think, 3 or 4.
If you want some more takes
Yeah.
on it, and it might be well timed that if we get some information on Kris Knoblauch, R.I.P. maybe, we're going to be live for ON
not
Happy
bad.
Hour. We're going to go this afternoon. Me, Menzies, Brett. We're going to talk some oil. We're going to play some games. We're also going to talk a lot of other nonsense. So come on, hang out.
Come on down.
We miss you. So
right.
let's chill.
That's
There you
coming
go.
up on Oilersnation Happy Hour, new weekly show every Wednesday here throughout the offseason. Aaron Menzies, boys, going to have a great time. Wrapping up for our friends at Bet365. Hockey fans, are you tired of waiting around for the end of the game to get paid? Are you ready to move on to the next puck drop? That's why Bet365, an official partner of the NHL, has the 3-goal early payout. If the team you're riding with goes up 3 goals at any point in the game, they'll pay your bet out early. Hockey moves fast, and now with 3-goal early payout, there's one less thing you have to wait around for. Bet365, download the app, see what early payout's all about. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Blue Jays in action right now, Liam, live. Our boy, friend of the show, Eric Sabrowski, is facing Mike Trout for the second straight game.
In Toronto?
Eric Sabrowski's facing Mike Trout, who plays for the LA Angels.
Didn't you say Detroit?
The
Toronto?
way he delivered that was a little weird.
Oh,
but yeah.
I said Did I say we'll talk Toronto later?
No, you said the Toronto Maple Leafs alive, and our boy Eric Zabrowski.
Oh, I said that? I was thinking
Trout.
Toronto Blue Jays for some reason. I don't know why I delivered that weird. Eric Zabrowski is facing, I'm watching on Bet365 right now. Oh, boy, he just gave up. Oh, that's foul. He's facing Mike Trout right now.
In L.A.?
In Cleveland. It's a 2-2 count. Mike Trout just ripped one foul. He walked him yesterday when they faced each other.
Damn.
I love that you can watch this on Bet365.
I know. It's great. That was so close to being ripped down the line. Blue Jays are in action tonight is the other thing I wanted to say. Dylan Cease, take a strikeout prop.
You think so? Ooh.
Tyler Mulick chimed in. Had to take a call. Knoblauch's kids go to Scona. Pretty good school. I imagine Cassidy's kids would go there too. Maybe.
Scona. I remember that was the only soccer team we could beat in high school.
Really?
It's the only team we ever beat. And I scored against them twice in one game. Felt pretty good about myself.
Damn.
Oh.
3-2 pitch to Trout.
Oh, I thought something else was happening.
Punchy. Gone. Always challenging it. Don't ruin it. I want to. Oh, this is a big challenge. I think he got the bottom of the zone. I think it's strike 3. Come on. Bang. Oh, half the ball's in the zone, Trout. Zabrowski, K-zone.
Oh my God.
All right, what are you doing tonight?
What day is it today? Wednesday?
Wednesday. Cheesecake? You don't really do that anymore.
No, probably not today. I don't know yet. I'm away this weekend, so I want to make sure the house is in tip-top shape.
Nice. I'm a big fan of get all your housework done.
And then
I know it's easy because like we don't have kids, which would probably be the big hurdle if
Yeah.
you're, but like getting all your housework done on Wednesday or Thursday and then
Yeah.
just not having to do it on the weekend, electric.
That's great. Last night I cleaned out my shed, and I cleaned out the greenhouse in preparation.
Nice.
Went to Costco, got some oil for my car.
Hot dog?
Filled. No. Figured out the oil. Also, I went to the garden center as well.
Nice. All right, well, that's a wrap on today's edition of the program. Remember, happy hour coming up in about 90 minutes here on the Oilers Nation YouTube. Enjoy your Wednesday. We are back tomorrow, noon Mountain. Oil up. What's up, Nation citizens? If you enjoyed today's episode of Oilers Nation Everyday, make sure you hit the subscribe button here on our YouTube to not miss any of our content. We got you covered from interviews, insight, analysis, everything you need to stay up to date on everything around the team. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video.